The Mississippi Link is an African-American female-owned newspaper with a trusted voice that is highly respected throughout the city, state, and nation. Our motto, keepers of the knowledge for people who speak the truth, since 1993. Link significantly influences the thoughts, attitudes, and buying decisions of its readers. Call us at 601-368-8481 for your advertising needs. If you would like to receive a newspaper in the mail each week, our annual subscription is only $52 per year. That is only $1 per week for you to stay informed regarding many stories that you can only get in the Mississippi Link. Sign up today at themississippilink.com and click on Home Delivery.
Good afternoon. Once again, this is Dennis Ayers, and we are talking today on the Health and Habits podcast. Today we're going to have an interesting topic, and it's going to talk about the cost, the actual cost of being diabetic. There are two types of diabetes that we're looking at. We're looking at type 1 diabetes, and usually those are, that's a type of diabetes either you are born with or you tend to carry at a young age. The other one is your type 2, which most people, when they speak of diabetes, that's the one that most people will be talking about, is your type 2 diabetes. And here in the state of Mississippi, we have a fairly large amount of the population that's either pre-diabetic or diabetic. So the one thing that we're going to talk about, and we're going to get deep in the weeds about this thing to a certain extent, is the cost of being diabetic, the cost of having diabetes that's under control. But also there's a different cost if it's not controlled. Uncontrolled diabetes is going to be very, very expensive. Once again, in healthcare, most of our costs it comes from the doctor and hospital aspect, but a larger cost will come from the cost of medication. So we're going to talk about that a little bit, and if you want to join in on this conversation, you can reach us at 1-800-492-5186. That's 1-800-492-5186. And or you can also view this podcast on Roku TV, on Facebook Live, YouTube, and WeBelieveDigital.com. And my name is Dennis Ayers, and I am the proprietor and owner of Ayers Insurance Group, located in Clinton, Mississippi. View us on the website at DennisAyers.org, or you can go to our Facebook page, and that's Dennis Ayers Senior Healthcare Advisor. So let's dive on into this thing, and we found some interesting information, and the reason I keep bringing this up is because it's pertinent to our population here, not only in Mississippi, but the South in general, because we tend to have a larger diagnosed population that have been diagnosed with diabetes or pre-diabetes. So So let's go ahead and jump into this thing. More than 30 million Americans have diabetes nationwide. And right around 7 million of those are somewhere right around 25-30% are on insulin, and that's the injectable insulin. We're not talking about the metformin pills. We're talking about the injectable insulin, such as Humalog or something along that line. So what we need to understand is the out-of-pocket cost associated. And right now we're going to concentrate on controlled diabetes, and those that we're right now I'm talking about those individuals that are on insulin, that are taking their insulin as prescribed, and their numbers are reflective on them caring for themselves with this condition and doing as prescribed. Those people treat out-of-pocket costs is a significant burden for any diabetic, anyone that's controlling their diabetes. And what we see is that cost, you may not think about it, but that cost is somewhere right around $5,000 a year. Because we know if you have a drug plan and you are insured and your diabetes is controlled, chances are you have a deductible that you have to meet with that. And then there's a cost for that diabetes, for that injectable insulin. So when you calculate your medication, then when you calculate if you have been off work as a result of diabetic related issues, when you tabulate the cost of going to the doctor, and generally diabetics will go to the doctor once every 3 to 6 months, depending on how well they're managing their diabetes. So, and then when you look at medical supplies such as lancets, glucose meter, strips, needles to check your insulin, those things will add up pretty quick. Test strips are not very cheap. Okay, so let's dive on into this a little bit and some of the things we're going to talk about. Okay, and diabetes is one of the most common conditions that's plaguing over 30 million Americans. Diabetes makes it difficult for the body to process sugar or process or glucose. And it can lead to other serious health issues if your glucose is over 9%. So, in the U.S. over 9% of the people here in the U.S. has diabetes. Okay, so, and over 1.5 million is diagnosed every year, either pre-diabetes or they have been diagnosed as full-blown diabetic. And yesterday on our show, we talked about the advantages of annual wellness exams. And that's one reason why we segue into this, is because the importance of a annual wellness exam can catch these things early. Because if that doctor knows your history and if he's abreast of immediate family history, then that gives him something to work with, and that will help him create that healthcare plan for you to follow. So don't dispel annual wellness. Once again, we talked about it yesterday. If you have ACA, if you have private health insurance, if you have Medicare, then chances are that annual exam will cost you absolutely nothing. So take advantage of it. And, because there are some things that we can do as individuals to help the rising costs. As you see, we've just went over the cost of someone with diabetes that's controlled with insurance, and it's still somewhere right up under $5,000 a year. So some of the things that we can do outside of following our regimen from our healthcare provider is we can change our diet, eat a proper diet. We can get physical with activities. And this is for my Medicare folks. If you have those Advantage plans, then those 10 will have a gym membership included. They may or may not, but in most cases, gym memberships are included in those things. And the average time that one should at least 30 minutes a day for at least 4 days a week. And that would give you some movement, and that will help. Anything helps, but sitting on the couch and laying in bed, unless you are not physically able to go to the gym or do anything else. And then there's exercises you can do if you're confined to a chair. If you're not very mobile, there are still some things that you can do. And we will not talk about that today, but at some point we'll talk about that. Because yes, even you can get a little physical activity in at that point. Okay. The economic burden for diabetes is a $2.3 billion cost, direct cost to medical costs, as well as a $90 billion indirect cost to increased absenteeism at work and reduced productivity. So this is a domino effect. Because what happens is if we don't go get those annual wellnesses, and we don't go to the doctor, if we do not concern ourselves with our diet, if we do not exercise, chances are you'll be diagnosed once that diabetes is no longer manageable. But you're at a point now to where it's other things are happening that you may wind up in an ER room or in the hospital itself. So, like I said, the average cost for someone with insurance that's on insulin is somewhere right around $4,800 a year. Now, the cost for someone who is not on insulin and who does not have health insurance or who's uninsured, that $48 magnifies, and you add another $1,600 to $2,000 onto that, because now what you have is the cost of your diabetic medication has gone up because you're paying the cash price for that. The doctor visits, on average, the average doctor visit is anywhere from $120 to about $180, depending on where you go and who you see. So, and your medical supplies are over-the-counter supplies, such as your test strips, such as your glucose meter. Those things are all coming out of pocket. So you're somewhere in between. You're about $600 to $6,500 that you're paying out of pocket just to manage your diabetes if you do not have health care. So, and if you allow this thing to get to a point, the average visit to the emergency room is right at about $950 to $1,000. And that's not including what they diagnose, and that's certainly not including any prescriptions that they may write for you or send you to your doctor, back to your doctor to get. So what we want to do is we want to make sure that you fully understand this, because if you are not going to concern yourself with these annual wellnesses, then you need to know going into this thing with your eyes wide open. You're gambling. So controlling diabetics without insurance is on average. I said $1,600, but sometimes it's lower, sometimes it's higher, but on average it's right at $1,200 more than the $4,800 that you would spend if you had health insurance and it's controlled. Uncontrolled diabetes will lead you quicker to the ER room. It'll lead you quicker to the hospital, and possibly it would lead you quicker to an early grave, because diabetes can kill you if it goes on uncontrolled. So we want to, y'all give us a call here. Give us a call if you want to talk about this at 800-492-5186. That's 601-492-5186. And you can also check us out on Roku TV, Facebook, YouTube, WeBelieveDigital.com. Okay, and we will have these things in archives on my Facebook page also, and that's Ayers, Dennis Ayers, Senior Healthcare Advisor. Or you can reach out to us at DennisAyers.org. We're going to take a break right now, but when we come back, we're going to talk about some more things that we can do to help control the cost of diabetes.
Advertise on WeBelieve.Global, a brand new digital media platform. Share your brand with our audience on our many global live stream TV broadcasts and over the radio. For more info, visit WeBelieve.Global or call 800-492-5186, option 1.
Okay, we are back. And I want to thank you for joining me. Today we're talking about the cost of being a diabetic, the cost of controlled being a diabetic, where your diabetes is under control and it's managed well, compared to the cost of it. Of you being a diabetic on uncontrolled, and it's not controlled. And those are some of the things we're going to talk about today. So if you want to join in on the conversation, we'll be here for the next 30 minutes. We're be here for the next 15 minutes. And you can call us at 800 492 5186. That's 1-800-492-5186. Or you can join us on Roku TV, Facebook, YouTube, and WeBelieveDigital.com. My name is Dennis Ayers, and I am the owner of Ayers Insurance Group, located in Clinton, Mississippi. You can reach me at DennisAyers.org. Send out a shout. If you like this message and you want to hear more, if there's anything in specific you want to talk about healthcare wise, then press the subscribe button, press the like button, and reach out to us on our format, and we'll be glad to take suggestions. Of course, we don't have all the answers, and if we need to get an expert in here on the subject, then that's exactly what we'll do. To recap on what we're talking about, the average cost for a diabetic that has health insurance and his or her diabetes is uncontrolled, the average cost of that is somewhere right around $4,600 to $4,800 a year. That's controlled, and that's with someone taking insulin. There is also the diabetic that is not taking insulin, and we see a large number of those that are diabetic, that they're, but still there's a cost to that, because when you change your eating habits and change your diet, that may bring up the cost a little bit. When you get the over-the-counter supplies, such as the the food and the snacks that are designed for diabetes, then those things there's a cost to that. So there is a cost to staying healthy. It's not free, so we can't at any point think that. But if you're a diabetic and you and your A1C, and that's and that A1C generally will set a gauge. It's gauging how your sugar intake or what's it look like for at least 90 days, for the last 90 days. So those are some of the things that you want to take a real strong look at, is making sure that if you are diabetic, that you're doing certain things. Certain things are in place. If you do not have health insurance and you are diabetic, sure, certainly you can live a healthy life. You can control your diabetes. But one thing you need to take into account, that it's not going to be free. There's going to be a cost to being uninsured and being healthy. There's going to be a cost. For example, doctor visits. Your doctor visits may be a little bit more higher, unless you are in an area where they have the federally funded health care systems. Then those generally go on a sliding scale. Great places. As a matter of fact, when I go get my wellness and when I see the doctor, I go to one. I can afford not to go there, but I like them because the people tend to be a little bit more down to earth. They're a little bit more conversational, and they kind of they see enough clients where they understand how life is without insurance, because they see this on a daily basis compared to a doctor's office where they accept insurance. Now, if you have Medicare or Medicaid, then it should be, there are things that are built into those types of plans, especially the Advantage plans, that are designed to help, and that help you to better manage. For example, in a lot of those plans, foot care is involved, and it may cost you anywhere from nothing to about $40 to go see a foot doctor. And if you're diabetic, you should examine your feet at least twice a week. Because if you have nerve damage in your legs or in your feet, then you may get a bruise or sore that may go undetected or untreated. And that in itself is another problem, and that's for another day. Yeah, I did read a study here, and there was an article in the Clarion Ledger, I think that was back in April, where Mississippi, in the Mississippi Delta, is one of the highest areas in the region where amputations are an all-time high. And that article suggested that the reason that was there, for was simply because of the high cost of treating, or those limbs may have been too far gone, or they went untreated for far too long because that individual did not take the time to come in and see a doctor to treat that, or if he did get it treated, did not care for that wound when they weren't in the doctor. So it's very important. There's a reason why doctors and practitioners go to school for so long. And I think for us who do not go to school and practice, we should listen to them. And I'll be the first to tell you, they're not always right. They don't always hit the mark, but they always put you in the ballpark. So that's something to think about. The average cost of someone that has controlled diabetes medication that's not on insulin is somewhere about $27, $28 a month, especially if they're on a generic such as a metformin, and they're able to control their diabetes. Of course, they still have to purchase their testing strips and supplies. That's at a separate cost, but you don't have the high cost of insulin, and you don't have the high cost of going to the emergency room or possibly the hospital because your diabetes is not being controlled. So the average cost for test strips for someone who's uninsured, that's testing themselves at least 4 times a day, and that diabetes is not controlled, is going to be somewhere right around, believe it or not, about $2,000 a year. So let's keep that in mind. That's a high cost for not being, for one, not having insurance, and for two, not controlling, walking around with uncontrolled diabetes. So we just want to get this message out. So we are hammering it in to you. We're going to continue to hammer these messages in to you because we know we can do better. It's just a matter of the want to getting you. So, y'all, we got another 6-7 minutes. Check us out on Roku TV. Check us out on Facebook, YouTube, and WeBelieveDigital.com. Or you can call us in the next 5 or 6 minutes at 800-492-5186. So we're going to wind this thing down. We got another 5 minutes or so, and I'm just trying to find some more information that we can find for you that will help. The average cost of diabetic supplies, no surprise, it's going up. Just like everything else. It's gone up, 70% since 2014. Diabetic supplies have gone up a whopping, inflation's gone up 10%. Medical supplies, insulin supplies have gone up 30%, and insulin's gone up 50%. So the cost overall is going up continually. So although the average diabetic patient insurance can manage their condition without insulin, will spend about $160 on diabetic medication each year, and and generally those are generic medications, your tier 1s and tier 2s, and it could be at a lower cost also because if you're on Medicare and you have one of these drug plans, then a lot of times once you meet those deductibles, if you have a deductible, those things may be at zero cost to you in 90-day supplies. So really, that's a real good opportunity for you to get this thing right. If you can't seem to get it right, every year you should go and talk to your doctor concerning your diet, and he'll put you in contact with a registered dietitian because of that annual wellness. That's part of it. To speak to a dietitian because nutritional education is a part of that. You should, I know that we're always on the go and everything's moving pretty fast, and as a result, we are fast food and food preservative junkies. Everything we see, very few people, including myself, seldom read a label, but we should take a look at that. We should always look at our sodium intake. Certainly we should look at our sugar intake, especially in these foods. And we should start eating more fruits and vegetables. The one thing here in Mississippi, which is an agricultural state, although we are an agricultural state, there are food deserts here in Mississippi where people have to drive at least 4 to 5 miles just to get to a grocery store. Yeah, well, they have the convenience stores that sell food, but usually those are fried, and they have the snack cakes and all that, which is not attributed to eating healthy. So we have to understand that there is a cost. There is a big cost to controlling your diabetes. There's a huge cost to uncontrolled diabetes and being uninsured. Here in the state, we have a large population of people who are simply not insured. But that should not keep you from maintaining a quality of life and good health. It just simply makes it a little bit more difficult. Hopefully, we'll keep sounding this drum, and those people that can make those decisions to change things, they'll do it. Okay? But we'll be back again tomorrow, and you can reach us at 1-800-492-5186. That's 1-800-492-5186. And we can be seen on Roku TV, Facebook, YouTube, WeBelieveDigital.com, and check us out on Thursdays at WMPR 90.1 in Jackson, Mississippi, where we have a health and habits talk show, and you can call in on that also. So we're going to beat this drum because we know we can do better. We can't look back at what we used to do or what we used to look like. All we can do is go from this day on forward, and let's change our health, okay? Because if you want a healthier outcome, then at some point we're going to have to change those habits. We're going to have to change the habits for a better outcome, because no one's going to take personal responsibility or should take personal responsibility for our health but ourselves. So we'll see you later. Thank you. God bless.
The Mississippi Link is an African American female-owned newspaper with a trusted voice that is highly respected throughout the city, state, and nation. Our motto, keepers of the knowledge for people who speak the truth, since 1993. Link significantly influences the thoughts, attitudes, and buying decisions of its readers. Call us at 601-368-8481 for your advertising needs. If you would like to receive a newspaper in the mail each week, our annual subscription is only $52 per year. That is only $1 per week for you to stay informed regarding many stories that you can only get in the Mississippi Link. Sign up today at themississippiLink.com and click on Home Delivery.